Sheila had asked me the other day in one of our worship practice prayer times that I would put together a video of what I have a vision for when it comes to our worship. And as I prayed about it and I thought about it, I came down to like three essential elements that I think we need when we get together as we begin to plan for Sunday mornings or any other time that we have worship. I think we need these three essential elements. The first one being biblical. It's so very important that we start by realizing that we have to be biblical in everything that we do, like right down to the lyrics and how we are approaching God's throne room of Christ. Because I know there are moments where we feel like or we sense that we should be doing something, and we have to ask ourselves, is it biblical? Like, what are what are the parameters around what I'm about to do? Is it proper? Is it what God wants me to do? In Matthew 6, verse 33, it says that we need to seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. And then all of these things will be given to you as well. And I think there's an element of we haven't been seeking his kingdom first. We haven't been seeking his righteousness. Sometimes our own desires creep up within us and we want to do something that has nothing to do with God. And therefore we need to keep it biblical, or else all of these things, what are these things? Healings, miracles, wonders, the signs and wonders that we've been seeking. None of these things will happen because we haven't been seeking his kingdom and his righteousness. We've been seeking our pleasures, our desires. So it starts with being biblical. But then it goes on to being, everybody should be getting a participation medal. Now, that might seem funny in the culture that we're living in, but everybody needs to participate. And therefore, when we design a worship service, how can we get the people involved? For instance, we introduce a new song. Follow it up right away with an old song that everybody knows. Not only will it get everybody participating, but those who don't like new songs will appreciate it. And they will get into an atmosphere of worship. They will participate. What other ways we should be asking ourselves, what other ways can we get people to participate within the worship service, to all be involved? Like throughout the Psalms, David says something like this, and I'm going to use Psalm 95 verse 1 as an example, but it says, come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of salvation. Worship was never meant to be especially on a Sunday morning or a time of prayer for the church. Like, yes, there are moments when we need to go home and we need to like privately approach God. But in this moment, what we are preparing, how can everybody be involved? It's about us singing for joy to the Lord. It's about us shouting aloud to the rock of our salvation. And not only that, when we come together in that atmosphere of worship, we're able to encourage one another. We're able to spur one another on with testimonies and psalms and different aspects of worship. So we need to be aware of that. How can everybody be involved? But lastly, it needs to be missional. Because it's not about us. It's about the Great Commission, and we've been kind of hammering this over and over again in the last few weeks and even the last couple of months, and we need to be getting outside of the four walls. And so when we come on a Sunday morning, we encourage one another, and we encourage one another to go out and to make a difference. Charles Spurgeon said, there is only one step from a rapturous worship to a radiant missionary spirit. And we need to find that one step. As everybody participates, and as we become more biblical in the sense that we're seeking his kingdom first and his righteousness, where is that one step from our worship to going out of the four walls afterwards, encouraged with this boldness to just be able to give all that God has given to us so that we can give to others? And so I think we need to ask ourselves those three questions when we're putting together a worship service, or we're putting together a prayer meeting, or any event really within the church. Is it biblical? How can I get everybody who is attending to not just be a spectator, but to participate? And lastly, will it advance the kingdom in the sense, will people want to go and reach others for Christ after we are done? So I hope that kind of answers Sheila's question. I believe it does, but I also feel like it probably answers all of our questions, especially maybe the one question of what does Pastor think? Where is his vision? Where is his ideas and all of that? And so I invite opportunities like this, and I encourage others to be willing to just ask, is it biblical? Is everybody participating, including myself? And when I'm done, what am I doing to help others outside the church? Thank you for this opportunity. God bless.